So great to have everyone today. I'm excited, and this is the second mastermind. Hooray! Really, really excited. Very, very excited. So I'm going to take it over. I'm going to turn it over to, just a moment. So does anyone want to share the experience last week? How did you all feel? Any recapping of last week's session? It was mind-blowing for me. I don't know about you, but I had a good time. Good time. Do you have anything you want to share? You can leave it in the comment section. I think we want to start now. We've lost some time, so we just go straight into today. And this is Chance to Test.
Question number 2. The clarity question. Do I clearly see my dream? Do I clearly see my dream? One of my friends is Mike Hyatt, who is the CEO of the publishing company I just talked to you about, Thomas Nelson. And Mike and I and a few others were in Ireland a couple years ago playing golf for a few days, and I was writing this book. And so one morning, Mike and I, because he loves books and he's an author, and he, of course, is the CEO of a publishing company, we got up real early and went into this wonderful area of the hotel where we were staying, and by the fireplace, and we talked the subject of dream. And I was laying out the questions, and as I was laying out the questions, he said, John, he said, the clarity question. He said, I think that's the most important of the 10. Now, as I give you these questions, you're going to say, well, I think this is the most important. And what you're going to find out is they're all important. But he said, the clarity question, he says, I think is most important. And in your notes, I have what he said. If you have a clear vision, you will eventually attract the right strategy. If you don't have a clear vision, no strategy will save you. So let me give you some clarity comments. Number 1, a clear dream makes a general idea very specific. Ben Stein said, the indispensable first step in getting the things you want out of life is this: decide what you want. It's that simple. And deciding what you want requires you to be specific and make your goals measurable. For example, take a look at these vague notions put into more specific form, like a general idea. I want to lose weight. That's just a general idea. But a specific goal would be, I will weigh 185 pounds by June 1. I need to treat my employees better. That's a very general idea. Specific way is, I will honor someone at every Monday staff meeting. Or a general idea, I want to get out of debt. Well, I will pay off all my card balances by December 31st. Okay, you're getting the idea. I don't need to go through this whole list. You already know, but you've got to go from a general idea to a specific idea. When I wrote the book, Winning with People, when I wrote that book, people came out and they said, boy, it really helps me. But do you have any ways that I could win with people? And literally that was the reason I wrote 25 Ways to Win with People. It was just, you know what it was? It was taking winning with people that is a good, wonderful principle and a general idea to 25 ways to do it. And that's exactly what I'm talking to you about your dream. You've got to get clear, because when you're clear, you get specific. Number 2, a clear dream doesn't become clear without effort. And for me, this whole process begins with questions I ask myself. The dream is always rooted in the dreamer, in his or her experiences, circumstances, talents, and opportunities. So here are the questions I ask myself. This is from my exercise. This is how I've done it for years. This might help you. Here are the questions. What am I feeling? In other words, what are my emotions telling me? What am I sensing? What is my intuition telling me? What am I seeing? What is happening around me? What am I hearing? What are others saying? And what am I thinking? What do my intellect and common sense say? These are questions you want to ask yourself to come to that clarity that you want for your dream. Number 3, a clear dream affirms your purpose. In my effort to clarify my dream, I discovered that the more clearly I saw my dream, the more clearly I was able to see my purpose. Makes sense, doesn't it? And number 4, a clear dream determines your priorities. Once you get the dream clear, once you get the priorities set, everything else becomes so much more clear, and you feel much more motivated to get it. Just about a year ago, I had a little arrhythmia issue with my heart, and so I went to my cardiologist, who's a very good friend. And so he put me in the hospital for a couple of days and to get everything back in rhythm. And I knew that he would come and see me in the hospital that first day, and I, being a leader, I knew I needed to kind of get ahead of him on the weight issue. And you know, you don't wait for people. So when he came in, his name's Chauncey Crandall, and I said, Chauncey, I said, I know that I need to kind of manage my weight. And he smiled, and he said, no, he said, you don't need to manage your weight. And for a moment, I felt real good. I thought, I'm okay. He said, John, listen to me very carefully. He said, you're fat. He said, you're fat. He said, fat people don't manage their weight. He said, if you're fat, you lose your weight. And then he said, guess what? When you get done losing your weight, then we'll manage your weight. But first of all, we're going to lose it. And then we're going to manage it. And I just cracked up. I mean, I just cracked up at myself. And well, you know what he was doing? He was bringing clarity. Yeah, he was real clear. John, you're fat. So I made a laminated card. I gave it to him, and it said, I can hardly wait to lose my weight so I can manage it. It got real clear. Nothing general, nothing vague, nothing subjective. In fact, in my briefcase I have in the hotel room here, I have a folder that's just a personal file of a lot of my personal stuff in it. And on the outside, I have this cartoon. And it's a doctor that's talking to his patient. And he says, what fits your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? Yeah. Yeah. Lay it out for me. You know, what do you think is best? Okay. Okay. I got the clear picture. In 1981, I went to San Diego, California to pastor Skyline Wesleyan Church. And the church had plateaued and for 8 years had not experienced growth. Here I come to town, here I come to be the new pastor. And in my first board meeting, I'll never forget, there were 18 board members, and I passed out 3x5 cards, and I said, I want you on this 3x5 card in one sentence to tell me, what's the purpose of this church? Collected the 18 cards, and I had 17 different answers from the leaders of the congregation. No wonder the church was plateaued. They weren't clear on why they were here, or they weren't clear on what they had to do. The clarity question helps us to begin to understand that a fuzzy dream or a fuzzy idea makes a lot of fuzzy actions and behaviors.
Awesome. That's a good one. Very great class today. I don't know. But before I get into the second one, if I get into the great session, the first session talks about the clarity questions. He said you must have clarity in order for you to be able to track your progress. You must also have clarity in order for you to make the strategy specific. There must be clarity. And the third one says a clear dream is clear with an effort. It says a clear dream has priority. It's not fuzzy. You know, there's clarity about what your goals and dreams are. So I'll go to the second one.
Question. How we do it? Are you learning something? Okay, all right. Then I'll go on.
I think the volume is not too
Question
clear.
number 3 is the reality question, and the reality question just simply asks, Am I
Yeah, I'm still having trouble hearing.
control to
And
achieve?
he's saying, I mean, I catch a few words here and there.
At me for just a second. We'll go right back to notes, but just look up me for a moment. It's hard, but do your best. I think this question is the most important question. Now, I said they were all important, but if you said, John, in what area do you think most people miss that question and don't achieve their dream? I would say this is going to be, for many of you, even in this room today, this is going to be the question you got to go back and really work on in your own life. Look at the quote, and then let me teach it. Reality is the enemy of fantasies, but not of dreams. In other words, listen to me carefully. When we think of dreams, we think of hopes and we think of aspirations, and it kind of makes our spirits soar. And what I have discovered is when people have a dream, many of them don't want reality to be brought into that mix.
My own mastermind.
And I know that because, I hear all the time what I call wrong motivational statements. I hear people say, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. Read my lips. That's not true. There's no truth in that. I know a lot of people that have a great belief in what they want to accomplish, but they never achieve that. Believing it will not it is. Belief is a very vital factor in dreams. Of course it is. No doubt about it. But believing in your dream and believing that it's your dream is not enough, friends. You've got to go more than just believing something to achieve it. I've heard people say, you can go as far as your dreams will take you. It's not true. It's not true. Now, I'm not trying to say these things to discourage you. I'm trying to say these things to give us a little bit of a wake-up call, because many people miss their dream and never achieve it, not because they couldn't, but because they buy into thoughts and ideas that are deceptive, and when they buy into those, all of a sudden they realize that their dream is not based on realism. So, let me explain the difference. In your notes, people who build their dream on reality take a very different approach to dreams than do people who live in fantasy land. By the way, we're living a life. We're not in Disneyland. Okay? Disneyland's wonderful for children. It's kind of sad for adults. Okay? Take a look at how differently they approach achieving a dream. Fantasizers rely on luck. Dream builders rely on discipline. Fantasizers focus on the destination. Dream builders focus on the journey. Fantasizers cultivate unhealthy expectations. Dream builders cultivate healthy discontent. Fantasizers minimize the value of work, where dream builders maximize the work they do. Fantasizers look for excuses. Dream builders lead to action. By the way, let me just stop here for a moment. I'll go right back to the list in a second. When you're making excuses for your dream and why you haven't, couldn't, shouldn't, didn't, whatever, you follow me? It's a surefire test that when you make excuses for your dream, you don't own it. One thing you'll find about people, going back to question number one on the ownership question, is my dream really my dream? One of the things you'll find about people who really own their question and really own their dream is they just don't make excuses for it. Let's go back. Fantasizers create inertia, where dream builders generate momentum. Fantasizers breed isolation. They kind of go off with their own fantasy. Dream builders promote teamwork. Fantasizers wait, and dream builders initiate. Fantasizers avoid personal risk. Dream builders embrace risk as necessary. Here we go. Fantasizers make others responsible, and dream builders make themselves responsible. Columnist Ann Landers wrote, "Rose-colored glasses are never made in bifocals. Nobody wants to read the small print in dreams." Hello. What is the fine print when it comes to your dream? The fine print is reality. If you want to achieve your dream, you need to read the proverbial fine print. And when you do, here are a few things that you will find. Boy, this is true. The journey will take longer than you hoped. Hello. The obstacles will be more numerous than you believed. The disappointments will be greater than you expected. The lows will be lower than you imagined, and the price will be higher than you anticipated. Is that not true? Sam Levinson talked about his folks coming to America as immigrants. And they were under the spell, as a lot of immigrants who come to America, of the American legend that the streets are paved with gold. So when they came from Europe, here's what he said. When they came to America, he said, when Papa got here, he found out three things. One, the streets were not paved with gold. Two, the streets were not paved at all. And three, he was supposed to do the paving. Talk to me. Isn't that true in the reality? You know, you just think that in the beginning that it's just going to be quick and it's easy and it's just, you know, it's just going to be so accessible to you. And you get in this whole process, and pretty soon you begin to understand that if you don't have realism beneath your... Here let me tell you. Max Dupree said the first responsible leader is to define reality. Here's what I found. Reality is your foundation for your dream. And if you don't have reality as your foundation, I promise you your dream will be soft and you won't be able to build off of it. Okay, let's go to your notes. The more unrealistic your dream, oh, this is so important. The more you will be tempted to depend upon things you cannot control to make it become a reality. I'm going to read it one more time. The more unrealistic your dream, the more you'll be tempted to depend upon things you cannot control to make it become a reality. That is very true. If you're not realistic about your own assessment of who you are and why you're doing this and have that realism as a base, you will begin to depend a lot on luck and hope, and maybe this will happen and hopefully this can happen, and you'll begin to have that kind of a mindset. It's kind of like the gal who was, I told you, my piano lesson, she was a pianist, and she was kind of like me. She wasn't very good, but the great Paderewski, she was in a wealthy family, was at their home one day, and so she convinced him that he ought to sit and listen to her play the piano, and so he listened to her for a couple of, what Paderewski would say, a couple god-awful minutes. And when she finished, she proudly turned to Paderewski, and she said, what do you think I should do now? And he said, get married. Yeah. Hey, it's not in the cards. Nobody's home. The doorbell's ringing, but nobody's answering. Okay, how do we do this? How do we get realism into our dream? What do we have to do to think so clearly that we have a foundation we can build it off of? Here we go. Number one, building on your strengths activates the law of least effort. What I'm going to tell you now is that your dream has to be based upon your strengths. In other words, you have to have some natural giftedness. You have to have some innate ability and be in an area, your dream, that taps that. And when this phrase, in fact, the first time I ever heard the phrase, the law of least effort, I kind of recoiled from it. I didn't like it because I thought somebody's trying to be lazy. And that isn't what the law of least effort is. The law of least effort is, haven't you done something that you're naturally gifted at and you were somebody that wasn't naturally gifted at it? Okay, are you with me? And for you, you could just do it so much easier. And you look at them and they struggled. Hello. Now, that's the law of least effort. When you're in your strengths, it doesn't mean you aren't going to have to put maximum effort, but what it does mean, it's just easier to do it because it's who you are than for somebody, it's not who they are. That's the law of least. And when you begin to focus on your strength, what you begin to understand is that, yes, you've got to learn. Yes, you've got to grow. Yes, you've got to put forth maximum effort. But you can, with just so little, do so much more than a person who does so much that has so little. I think this explains it best in your notes. Skip the first couple paragraphs. Entertainer Pearl Bailey asserted, there are two kinds of talent, man-made talent and God-given talent. With man-made talent, you have to work very hard. With God-given talent, you just touch it up once in a while. The second thought, building on your strengths enables consistently good results. Building on your strengths enables consistently good results. Maximum effort and maximum strength equal maximum return. When you put forth your best effort in your best area, you're going to get your highest return. Classic example, I only need to say this and every one of you will understand it. Michael Jordan, who is the greatest basketball player to ever play basketball. Unquestionably, all-time number one. Remember when he was at the height of his career, he decided he wanted to try pro baseball? Remember this? Michael left. I mean, he was at the top. He left and he went down to, single A baseball somewhere, or double, some minor kind of a deal. And for a year and a half, he tried baseball. His batting average, I think, never hardly got above 200. And I mean, he wasn't going to make the majors. He wasn't hardly good enough to be on the minor league team. Now, why is Michael not doing so good in baseball? It's because his gifts are in basketball. The law of least effort works in basketball. He can put a lot less effort in basketball and be very good. He can put a whole bunch of effort in baseball and not be very good at all. He understood his strength zone. And one of the mistakes we make is we make a mistake because we're good at one thing, we can be good at all things. Because I do well over here, I could do well over there. That's not true at all. Because wellness and success a lot of times determines upon what our natural strengths are. Let's go to your notes. Because now we're going to put strengths with habits. Question, do I have the right habits to achieve my dream? J. Paul Getty, philanthropist, founder of Getty Oil, said the individual who wants to reach the top in business must appreciate the might and force of habit. He must be quick to break those habits that can break him and hasten to adopt those practices that will become the habits that help him achieve the success he desires. Aristotle says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Here's the goal. Match your habits with your dream. What I'm about to teach now is going to be vitally important to question number 3. Match your habits with your dream. Remember earlier I shared with you being on the golf course with Nathan. I looked at him and I said, I want to build a great church. That's where I got the $100 idea to talk to these pastors of these great churches. When I went and talked to them, I discovered that they daily did the things that helped them become successful. That they daily practiced habits that had a high return and a great compounding value. So I came out of those interviews saying, I have to make sure that I do the things every day that's going to build my congregation. Just like you have to make sure that you're doing things every day that builds your business. And one of the things I was convinced, and again, please understand, I'm a person of faith. I'm not trying in any way to evangelize you. So please understand, I've got to talk out of the world I live in. Are you with me? Because that's the only world I know. And so therefore, sometimes I've just got to get personal experiences. And one of the things I became convinced of was that if I was going to build a great church for God, I was going to have to share my faith with a lot of people and help them come into a relationship with God. So listen very carefully. I'm talking about put your habits, make habits that'll help you to achieve your dream. Every Sunday after I would finish preaching, Margaret and I and our friends perhaps would go out for a lunch. But by 2:30 on Sunday afternoon, I was back in my office. And my assistant had put on my desk the names of everybody that was a first-time visitor. And it wouldn't be a lot of names. It might be, we were growing, but I mean, we weren't huge at that time, but it might be 30 to 50 names of first-time guests. I would take every one of those cards, and I would that afternoon, from 2:30 to 6, I would call every one of those individuals. And I'd say, hey, I'm the pastor. Thanks for coming today. They were blown away that I would do that. And then I would make an appointment with them that week. And every week, I spent 10 hours. And by the way, by 6 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, I had my 10 appointments for that week already scheduled, already on my calendar. And that week, I would go see those people for about an hour, and if they were not people of faith, I would begin to introduce them to God and begin to share my faith. And I did that. I did that every week for every year I was the pastor of that church. And people come to me and say, John, how can you grow this congregation? You got all these new people, and what's happening? And they wanted me to kind of be mystifying and say, well, you know, God is amazing, isn't he? You know what I mean? It's just, oh my goodness, it's just amazing. No, God is amazing. But it took 10 one-hour appointments every week to build that church. And now all I'm asking you is, what habits do you have in your life to help you build your business? I mean, if I sat down and said, okay, tell me, what things do you do every week? What things do you do every day that helps you at the end of that week to say, this week I was successful in this work? And then you start and you do it all over again. And here's what you have to understand. You always keep on doing it. People all the time say, well, how many years do I have to do that until I won't have to do that anymore? I do have good news. There's a time when you don't have to do that anymore. It's when you're dead. When you're dead, you don't have to make another call. You don't have to have another home visit. You don't have to hold another meeting. So when you die, don't worry about it. But success is not an accident. People that achieve their dreams. Now, this is the reality that I'm trying to bring in to this question. Because there are a lot of people, they love the idea of the dream. They just don't like the idea of doing something every day that makes the dream a reality. So here's your reality roadmap to your dream. You start at a certain place. You begin to look at your strengths, the things that you kind of naturally do well, and make sure that they fit the dream that you have. If you could say yes to that, then you get over to the habit side. And you begin to say, now what habits do I need to inject in this dream that every day I do something that will get me closer to it? And then you begin to realize your potential, and when you begin to realize your potential, it's only a matter of time till you'll realize your dream. Here's the key, last statement. Reality is the foundation of your dream. If I were leading a person and they wanted to be a success, the first thing that I would work on them is, what are you doing today that makes tomorrow what you want it to be? What are you doing today? Come on, don't tell me about your hoping. Don't talk to me about your thinking. What are you doing today? What are you doing today that makes your dream tomorrow a reality? And if your day's not filled today with the things that are going to make your dream a reality tomorrow, then I can promise you you'll never have it, because you haven't passed the reality test, the reality question.
That's awesome. So great. That is so great. So glad to have everyone this morning. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. And I want to just thank everyone who joined the class This is putting your dream to test. This is a mastermind I said. It's a mastermind for 6 weeks. This is the second one. And the second one, we decided to take 2 chapters together, which talks about clarity questions and the reality questions. In order for you to put your dream to test, there are questions, 10 questions John Maxwell wrote in his book, Putting Your Dream to Test, that you need to check out to be sure that your dream is what it's your dream and you are working it out to reality. And just before we call it a day, I don't want to keep you. Saturdays are days that we want to be with our family, so I don't want to keep you or take you off there. So it talks about, we dealt on the clarity questions, and now we spoke about the reality question. Reality question, these things about living a life of reality, not a life of fantasy, as in knowing where you want to be and living that life. You know, he said fantasizers rely on luck, but dreamers do the work. You don't just, fantasize, oh, this is where I want to be in 10 years. But you begin to do the work from now. He says fantasizers think about the location, but dreamers, people who have dreamed, who have been called out to do a certain thing, they think about the journey. What is the process? How do I get from where I am now to where I want to be in the next 10 years, in the next 1 year, in the next 12 calendar months? Already, I had a calendar that was sent to me from the church, and I saw that on March 16, we have a women program, and I looked at the way the church broke down the calendar, and I said, when did we say Happy New Year? The year is broken down in such a way that before you know it, the year is gone. So whatever you think about doing, whatever you are called to do, you begin to think about them now. So think about the journey. You spent 2 months out of the 12 months. So the 10 months, what is your plan to achieving your goals? He says dreamers, fantasizers get into unhealthy habits, but dreamers get into healthy discontentment, meaning they're not contented with where they are. They want to be somewhere, and they're striving hard, doing the work now to get there. So dreamers maximize the effort. They maximize the work. He said, but fantasizers look for excuses. But dreamers lead the action. They take action. They don't just sit down and wait for things to happen or fall on their laps. He said, when you make excuses for your dream, then you don't own it. Maybe somebody else's dream. That's why you're making excuses. Because if it is your dream, you will take ownership and you'll run with it. And he spoke about, fantasizers are inertia. Inertia meaning that they are not moving. They are stagnant. He said, but dreamers put in the momentum. They are on their, they are running. They are, they're on their feet. They're not sitting down or sleeping or lying on the bed or something, but they are engaging in the momentum. They are, they're doing something. He said fantasizers, isolate themselves. But dreamers promote teamwork. They want to work with others. They want to collaborate. So you might be thinking this year, oh, who can I work with this year? What can I do with this person? I have a lot of people I'm collaborating with. Some people have strengths in some areas that I do not have. And so I am not chickening out, or I don't feel I am less of myself, but I just feel that that's the person's strength. So with the best I can do, we can come together and, we can build a formidable team. So this is a year you want to synergize, you want to collaborate, you want to find out people who are like you, who think alike like you, who are doing great things like you, and you want to, come together to work. So beyond just, working alone, fantasizers isolate themselves. They want to be the winner. They want to be on top of the game. They don't want to carry all this along. But you find that dreamers are a team player. They want to build the team. And they will also, fantasizers wait for actions to be taken. But dreamers initiate the action. They initiate the idea. They stand up. Fantasizers don't want to take any personal risk. I'm just comfortable. I don't want anything that will cost me my sleep. But dreamers embrace the risk. They're ready to go on the field. They're ready to run. They're ready to take the risk, whatever it may involve. Fantasizers are not responsible. They don't want to be responsible for anything. No, I'm not the word. I don't know about it. You can't tell me, But you find that dreamers make themselves responsible. They take ownership. When they see things on the floor that are not properly placed, they try to, put the office or the room in order. They take they are responsible. He says, dreamers, the fine line between a dreamer and a fantasizer is so thin. A fantasizer just sits down, wait for actions to be taken. He says reality is the foundation of your dream, meaning your dream You've set your goals for the year. And we said goals are smart, but beyond just being smart, goals are smarter. Meaning that sometimes you have goals and you just think, oh, they are specific, they're measurable, they are achievable, they are realistic, and they are time bound. But beyond that, some of your goals, almost 3-4 months into the year, you're done with the goals. So the ER that makes a goal smarter is evaluation. You might have to go back to evaluate your goals and your dream, saying, okay, if I set a goal for 12 calendar months and in 4 months I've achieved them, what do I need to do for the remaining 8 months? You want to go back to your drawing board, evaluate your goals, tweak your goals, and, revise it so that it will take you to the end of the year. So don't stay stagnant and say, okay, I've achieved all I need to do for the year 2024. And the remaining days, I'm going to just be playing and enjoying myself. No, you might have to go back to your goals, evaluate them again, and you might have to tweak them, revise them, so that those goals keep you engaged and keep you going. So it says the more unrealistic your dream is, the more you depend on the things you cannot control to make it work, to make it real. The more unrealistic your dream is, the more you will depend upon the things you cannot control to make it work. These are my jottings. Then how do we get reality in our dream? How do we make our dream, real? It says, build your strengths, activate the law of the least efforts, meaning that what are your strengths? What are you called to do? There's some things you're called to do that you're so good at doing it and nobody can do as much as you can. So leverage on that strength. That's why it's talking about the law of least effort, where you don't even need to put any effort and things begin to work for you. So find out your strengths and leverage on your strengths. He says you have to, you have that innate ability to do things. Even when somebody wakes you from the bed, immediately you get up, you know what to do because you're self-driven. So what you are naturally gifted of, you are able to do it easily with not so much strength. 2, it says build your strengths, enable consistent results. When you build your strengths, your result is consistent. Not people who would today do something and the next 1 year, they're not there doing anything again. But when you are leveraging on your strengths, you are consistent. And it says maximum effort plus maximum strength is equal to maximum results. So this year, you want to give everything to your dream so that you can achieve it. So when you look back 6 months back, you can say, oh, I have been on the route on achieving my goals. Do I have the right habits to achieve my dream? These are questions you want to ask yourself. These are personal questions that no one can answer for you. You can only tell yourself the truth, how far you are from your dream. Quick to break that habits that would not take you to your dream. Maybe there are habits, you wake up in the morning, there are things you do that will not take you to where you want to be. 2 months is gone. About 60 days in the year is almost wrapping up. And how many days you have? You have less than 306 days left. So we have 10 months. So what are you doing in October? What are you doing in March? What are you doing in April? What are you doing in May? What are you going to be doing in June, July, August, September, October, November, December? So that when you look back, you're thrilled, you're happy that you've achieved. So match your habits with your dream. That will help you to achieve your dream. What are those habits that will take you? When you wake up in the morning, what are the things you do every day? Habits are consistent. These are things you do every day that will take you to your dream. Call your people, connect with them. What made John Maxwell stood out in growing up his church was astounding for me. And I wrote it down because I want to embrace it. He said his PA will put all the names of the first-timers on his desk. And how many pastors do we have these days that call their members? Very few. He said he will make out time, call them, connect with them, and schedule appointments to visit them. And for those who have not found the faith, he will now share the faith with them. Beyond that, that is connection on the highest order. Tell me, when an overseer of a church is calling you, you feel very honored. You feel very, very loved. So that the next Sunday, you want to be the first to come to church. Because now you're connecting with the pastor, the overseer, the general overseer of the ministry. So reality is the foundation of your dream. So what is it that you do every week that will help you to achieve your dream? They love the idea of the dream, but they do not love the work of the dream. That's our fantasizers. They love the reality. They love the dream, but they do not love the work. So when you find people who do not want to do the work, but they love big house, oh, let's go on vacation, but do not want to even do the work. So those people, you know, they're fantasizers. They're not dreamers. Dreamers ensure that the dream comes to reality. What do I do to get to where I want to be? What are your plans? What are you doing today that will make your dream a reality tomorrow? You might want to go back then and look at your agenda. You want to look at the things you do every day. Are they taking you down to your big idea, to your big dream? Pay now and pay later. Or do you want to play now and pay later? It is said that if you play now, the cost of paying later is much more than anything. It is more costly. So I want to encourage you. Let's pay now. Let's do the work now that we have all the strength to do, so that later on we can all play. You know, the richest men, what they do now, they travel all around. You know, they're giving back to the community. They're living lives in others. They're giving out scholarship because they have the funds, because they have paid everything. They've done all the work years back. And now they have a lot of money. So now they're able to fly anywhere in the world. They're able to visit anyone. They're able to impact anyone in the world. So I want to encourage you in putting your dream to test. Next week, we're going to be having another class. I'm going to be handling another 2 questions on your dream, putting your dream to test. So I don't want to keep you longer than necessary. I want to say thank you to everyone that joined me this morning. Thank you so much. And until our next episode, which is next week, Saturday, do have a restful weekend. Thank you. Love you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Great job.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
Are you thinking of how to publish your book on Amazon or how to get your published book to become an Amazon bestseller book? Dip Insight Books is the perfect in-between solution in transforming your ideas into a book. We can help you with all the complicated parts of publishing, such as process TO transformation. What we do: full manuscript evaluation, receive quality assurance edit, full copy edit and final proofread to remove spelling and grammar mistakes, oversee your cover design, create your interior layout, publish and distribute your book, lock down your marketing strategy. Ghostwriting, where there is no manuscript. Our goal is to help you publish your book promptly. Contact us today at 404-740-9091. Email us at info@dipinsightworld.com. To start the submission process, check us out at www.books.dipinsightworld.com and submit your details. You can visit our Facebook page at Dip Insight World.
If you've made it this far into this video, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe so you can support your girl. Thank you.